legends, pure of heart and awakened by fury.
What is going on, everybody? Super Saiyan Paul here, back at it again. We got UnrealEntGaming joining us here today. We're going to be talking about Gas versus Bardock and Manga Chapter 82, as well as what we expect in 83 and exactly how as to Bardock is going to defeat Gas. So jumping right into it, Alex, what do you think is going to happen between the two?
Well, I mean, first things first, like we understand that from a physical prowess perspective, like it looks as though every single time Bardock attacks Gas, it's not working in his base form. And I'm not suggesting here that perhaps Bardock needs like some sort of an increase in power, but I'm firmly under the impression that in order to kind of run Gas down, you're gonna have to exhaust him. And I think that, you know, even with his name, no pun intended, you're gonna have to gas out. And I think that is going to be the solution that is needed, or at least the key to victory here, because we know that from a head-to-head perspective, Gas is stronger than Goku. We saw when he was fighting him, he kept kicking him and attacking him, and it really hurt Goku's body. We saw the marks that it left on his forearm, the marks that it left on his hands. So Goku can only do so much. As a self-admission, he even said, I can't just keep playing defense forever. Like, this is not working in my favor. And Bardock seems to be the aggressor, whereas Goku, during his fight with Gas, seems to be more of the defensive kind of person in this fight. So it's very evident what Gas told Goku in the last manga chapter to say, hey, you don't have that same fighting spirit that your dad did, and you can kind of see why, because Bardock is the aggressor. But even then, nothing seems to be working. So I think that if there were to be somewhat of an amp for Bardock, as an example, I'm not suggesting giving him Super Saiyan, but maybe allowing for him to tap into a false Super Saiyan-like state, I think that would actually serve him justice in a sense where he can drag this fight along. Gas is getting frustrated. He's trying to catch up and play catch up and try to attack, you know, Bardock by using any conventional means that he possibly has within his arsenal, only to fail. And I think that is the key to victory. I think running Gas down and burning him out in battle is what's going to give them leverage, especially even now, you know, when going back and seeing how fast he is and traveling through space. Like, nobody's really taking his feats away. Nobody's really suggesting that he's a weakling per se. But I think that it's fairly evident to see, you know, based on observation, that if you kind of burn this guy out long enough, because you can outsmart him, as Goku just did, you can outsmart him, but I think that one of the keys, the main keys to victory here is to outlast him. And I think that's what Bardock is going to possibly do before he ends up unleashing, you know, one of his signature moves that kind of puts Gas down for the count. Now, is it, you know, implied that Gas is going to go into his Berserker state? Yeah, because Monaito, when he first saw, you know, Gas transform and go into this rage-like state, we understand that Monaito said, oh crap, like I remember this, like I've seen this before. So when he first transformed against everybody else during battle, when Elect removed his pendant, that wasn't the first time that we saw that. Clearly, based on Granola and Monaito's observations, this happened before. So make no mistake about it, I think that we are going to see a Berserker Gas at some point, but then again, against the base Bardock, I don't think that really adds up, because, you know, when looking at it objectively, I think that, you know, a Berserker Gas would be able to just truck right through a base Bardock. So you kind of have to give Bardock something here, which I think instead of giving him Super Saiyan, you can give him the false Super Saiyan state where he goes into it, but not really. He can use whatever leverage he has against Gas to burn him out, and then unleash one giant attack after wearing him down to kind of get the better of him. Now, that's just my point of view of things. I know, you know, many other people might suggest, oh, okay, well, maybe that's not the case. Maybe he simply needs to overpower him. That could be the case, but to me, from what I'm seeing right now, I think the best way to do this is to wear him down, tire him out, and once he's tired, you can kind of go about, you know, this idea or this situation where you could just fire upon a gigantic attack on him and then just call it a W from there.
I agree with most of those points right there as well. Burning Gas out is probably the best case scenario. We both know that Bardock survives this fight, and we do also know that Gas clearly survives the fight, so I don't think he's going to kill him. He's just going to weaken him to the point where it's like a Pokemon, then drop him, and then from there, we just see them carry on with their lives. But definitely, I feel like Gas, especially with this inexperienced power-up, going back to what Granola said, or what Vegeta said to Granola in the previous chapters, they got blessed with these power-ups, they never trained with them, and these Saiyans can tell like instantly. And then going back to what Gas had said to Goku, it's like, you're not like your father. You don't have that Saiyan warrior spirit. And I think Vegeta, if he had fought Gas, he would have instantly picked up on this as well. Like, you do not know how to use these powers. So that might be the biggest tell that, hey, if this guy battles for a long enough duration, he's going to tire himself out. And there's the opening right there. So for Goku to match him, I feel as though he's just going to use these Saiyan memories, tap into UI and maybe another tier of it to the point where he's able to match him, outlast him, and maybe be more aggressive because it's going to have more of that Saiyan warrior spirit, kind of like Bardock. We're going to probably see some back and forth between how Bardock fought Gas and see kind of like some similarities between the two. And I feel like that's going to be what initially throws him off and eventually gives Goku the win against him, because we did see from this chapter, they kind of pulled back on him a bit. Yeah, we're going to see him go Berserker again, but I feel as though he's going to just be a fodderized character at the end of this all towards one of the other foreshadowed things that also was mentioned in this chapter, like you can't trust the Lek, and I feel like that's the route they're going to take. What do you think?
I mean, I still stand by the idea that this upcoming chapter is not going to feature everything unless the chapter again is a full flashback like we've seen done before. I think that what we might end up seeing, if this entire chapter is just a flashback, then we're bound to see at least Gas go into his, Berserker-like state. I think that Gas at that point is going to fight Bardock to the T. And if this is going to be like a full flashback chapter, then I think that by the end of it, it only makes sense for us to finally get that answer. Because if Gas was at the time only 20 minutes away, and then by the end of next month's chapter, he ends up arriving, then chapter number 84 can set up that big bad fight involving a pissed off Gas, who's not only embarrassed after everything that's, that he's been through, but it only then makes sense because you take the time to dedicate the entirety of chapter number 83 for this flashback in order for us to see Gas fight Bardock, and then to kind of expand on what happened, the keys to victory. And then once you kind of go into that, you can only then open up the doors to suggest, okay, well, Goku and Vegeta, they understand what's happening. Granola can still rest after, having to go through so much. He's, partially healed, but really not, to the fullest of extents. But I think even then, Granola is in no position to fight, and neither is Vegeta. But if you have 20 minutes to spare, then it is what it is. I think those 20 minutes can actually, go a long way for these guys. But by the end of it, I think that when entering chapter number 83, you have to give us the key to victory, which I think is the burnout. You have to kind of finish the story of what happened with Bardock and Gas, because it's been hinted at now for many, many months, and I think that it's kind of overdone. So just go into it, finish it, and then exit out of that is what I think is best. And then once we do that, chapter number 84 can set up Gas versus Goku, or maybe even Vegeta, to where you can finally have that big bad fight and then kind of implement what you just heard on the Scouter, in real time against Gas right now. So there's a lot of things, and again, I don't think this entire arc is going to end at least now anytime soon, because they did mention how, the story is going to end this year. I don't see that happening at least now, because with everything unfolding, I think that this might drag out through the summer, and maybe it might end sometime during the early portions of fall, but by no means are they going to end it now, which I think that they should expand on this. They should give us that one big fight. Granola somehow maybe jumps back if you want to do that, and then we finish off, the narrative with Gas, we finish off the narrative with Alec, and then we can finally just move forward with a brand new arc after. But I think with chapter 83, that's what you need to do. And again, I don't see Bardock going into UI or Super Saiyan God. That's all silly stuff. Like, there's no evidence to support that. It's just people talking out their butts. So that's not going to happen. Super Saiyan is more plausible because we've seen that be done before various different times. Whether or not you want to count, specific forms of canon to be, true to the format of the manga or not. We've seen that be, we've seen that be true with Goku, with, Bardock, with Lord Chilled and whatnot. That was a good example of it. So I think you can kind of do that by giving Bardock something. Again, it doesn't have to be something huge or something, significantly abnormally mind-blowing, but I think false Super Saiyan is best. Or maybe if you want to kind of run with that, you give him Super Saiyan for just a moment. Like, he goes into it, he doesn't even know it himself, but he uses that as a means to just slow Gas down. So that's what I expect to see, and if there's anything else more to that, then, it is what it is. But, for now, that's what I'm kind of running with, is either false Super Saiyan, or if they're really feeling ballsy, you give Bardock Super Saiyan just for a moment, and he doesn't even realize it himself until he just completely exits out of it, and then from there we can finish up the battle, or at least now the flashback between Gas and Bardock.
I completely agree. I feel as though them giving him Super Saiyan is pretty ballsy. But if anything, if it's not full Super Saiyan or even Super Saiyan and him not being able to tap back into that, because if he had it, he would have saved all the Saiyans anyway. I feel as though maybe some type of Uzaru power-up, kind of like what Broly had gotten in the movie, just because he still has the Saiyan tail, the Saiyan heritage and all of that stuff. That might tie into it. I feel as though those are like the only forms of power-ups that they can give him, because UI, that's way out of there. And then even Super Saiyan is a big stretch, because that would have changed the course of the entirety of all of Dragon Ball. That form was meant for Goku in the first place. So I feel as though him just getting some sort of power-up in whatever nature it is, and it has to be something that I would feel like for them to really cement Bardock's legacy, it has to be a visual transformation as well. Him being able to power up, tire Gas out, have him burn out of gas, and then take him out while he's not in that state where he's just vulnerable, but not kill him, is the best way to go about this, and it's probably the only solution that he has. And then him saying that out loud into the scouter is how Goku's gonna figure it out and use that in his own way right now. Now, if Goku actually ends up beating him or drains his power the same way and ends up taking him down, something else is going to take that place. I feel as though the rest of the heaters have something else to come along with, because like you said, it's not going to end till like later on this year. So we may see a grand battle, but it's not the end of it, and I'm really excited for that. But up to chapter 84, I feel like what you said on the timeline, it just got to be Goku versus Gas, and using these secrets based on whatever he hears from that scouter in whatever flashback they may delve into in chapter 83. I feel as though that's what's going to be the battle work, like the groundwork for the next type of big battle. And especially the fact that he hasn't used that much time to train with this form, I think that's going to be one of the biggest weaknesses, like is foreshadowed by Vegeta, like I said, with him versus Granola. The same exact concept here. These guys wishing for power isn't necessarily the key to true strength, and it comes from knowing who you are and everything from the inside. And even them roasting him in this chapter 82, it kind of shows that there's some inner turmoil in this guy that hasn't really been faced, and you kind of saw it in his ego with some of the battles here, like him getting frustrated, him not even be able to teleport back. He had to just rush back to the planet flying there and giving them 20 minutes of time to stall. So I feel like that's a major weakness being shown right there and dragged out. But let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. How do you guys feel they're going to give this power up to Bardock? Do you see him just gassing him out, or do you see him finding some other technique, whether it be just straight up offense beating him, or is it something more defensive? I feel as though it's gonna be offense though, it's because that's what they're hinting at with that Saiyan warrior spirit, and Goku tapping into that, being much more aggro in MUI will probably be the key. But like I said, guys, let us know what you guys think. Make sure you guys smash that like button, subscribe, hit that bell icon. Make sure you guys go check out Alex's channel, UnrealEntGaming. Any last words, Alex, before we leave?
I just really hope that they don't rush this, because if they rush this, I think is going to be bad. But I'm excited to see this because I really want to know what this weakness is, and hopefully it's something that's different. But if it's not different, then I don't really mind, you know, having Bardock just tire him out. But if it's something where it's just dumb and it's silly and it's really convoluted to where it just doesn't belong there, then I think that's going to be a problem. But I guess we'll see.
I definitely agree, but I don't know if they're going to do that, because they kind of just did that with the bathtub scene with the Galactic King and all that stuff. So I think they got the goofy stuff out of the way. The comedic stuff, I think it's gone. But if they do pull more of that out, I think that will really water down the chapters. But like I said, guys, let us know what you guys think. We'll be seeing you guys next time. Until then, everybody, take care. Peace.